overburden us when we work and we are just sitting down. And no more politeness to non-performers who want leadership for their own ego and personal interests. This is the Exanja, no sleep. The story of the NRM and Uganda starts in the early 1960s. Personally, I started waking up our people in 1959 when I visited Mbara Farm as a junior secondary 1 pupil at Mbara High School. Having come from the Ntungamo area that was democratically outside the money economy, and everybody was on Okora Ichida Chonka, working only for the stomach, subsistence. Combined with the school education, when we came to know about the enclosure movement in the UK, Oksiba Sengenge for agriculture, the Industrial Revolution in Europe, etc. By 1965, the sectarian politics of the political groups notwithstanding, our ideas about the socio-economic transformation had coalesced. It was clear that the small enclave economy of the British, of the 3 C's and 3 T's, was a disaster for the majority of the people. You want proof? Just look at the infant mortality rate in 1962 and the average life expectancy in 1962. There were 128 per 1,000 live births, and life expectancy was 46.8 for everybody on the average. We soon grasped the importance of having vertically integrated and horizontally integrated national economies. In the 20 years of chaos between 1966 and 1986, our views were eventually crystallized into the 10 points program of Kanyara. Kanyara was where we wrote this document in 1984. Point number 5 of those 10 points run as follows, in quotes: building an independent, integrated, self-sustaining national economy. However, for the people to participate in the vertical and horizontal integration of the economy of the country, they had to join the money economy first and move out of the traditional pre-capitalist economy of working for a chida chonka, working only for the stomach, just subsistence. Since my nomadic family, because my family was nomadic, since my nomadic family had migrated from Tungamo to Nyabushozi, it was the good luck of Nyabushozi that we started our activities there. These activities involved sensitizing the population of the cattle corridor to stop nomadism, make enclosures around their land, Sengenge, engage in commercial agriculture with the Chivaro, Chura, Aymar, cultivation for profit and maximum returns. You can see in the videos, let them show us some of the families we started with if they are there on the videos, their testimony.
Amazina gange esitamagaga witu nahan baheta Rwengwe Inshwerengi ahampa tukejeho gwankaga n'etaano ahampa eryensi konka bakandi bagyeta empango keri empango nense etaine ebihingi etaine ente etaine keri emburare ry'ekishaka twataha omu twabaire turi omu turiisa turi nk'oku tukatari nk'abakaramoja mbwenu Pulezidenti aija omu hariho omusenia ya mukaaga yataayayo omu maka gaitu tukugira ngu akaturagira ngu naragira akari omwana w'ishomero tukantumukiza n'emyaka amu nanye ningimukiza obundi aha ningimukiza tukantumukiza emyaka akatushomesa ari omwana yatushomesa okutuura okuhinga okwombeka amaju gatakugira ngu n'amabaati agagu twayombekire bwanyuma g'ebihome okuba abatuuzi omu nsi okurera kuzengerera okurera kutaasya kutwabanda nambwenu nkaitwe nkanya nk'enju yange ekerihakye kutaasya kanyabihara konka yatwegesa ebintu birungi yatwegesa okushitama yatwegesa okutuura yatwegesa twaba abantu mbwenu kuko abantu abari kumanya bukuru ko babaire bari itwe tukatari nk'abakaramoja kandi nakigamba ama tukatari nk'abakaramoja hauka abakaramoja bakabatuura nibafuruka nambwenu nabo mpurira ngu abegesa abandi akabareeta mpani mpurira nabo nibagamba orurimi rw'abantu nuwe atikiza n'okuturikushoku n'okutwima koona nuwe ataine kakwate nangu n'okuba omuntu nakwe tukantumukiza emyaka itwe tukantumukiza emyaka hari nahati nangu nimukira n'obundi ampa hati kuyahirize kutwegesa ebintu ebyo kutwayega kutwayombeka amaju g'ebihome kutwaba abatuuze kutwareera kufuruka kutwahinga yagira omu kishaka yayongeraho ekyakabiri yayongeraho twatunga enjungu yayongeraho obwenge bw'okugemura
ntukama rita bishatu buri izooba rita emwe negura shiringi 90 orikubazamu buri izooba n'emitwaro 28 kokubazamu omu kwezi nizo miliyoni 8 n'esente zikushagamu
yayongeraho twayombeka amaka marungi nambwenu ekyanga kiitu eki kyona ekindi kuheraho aha kanisa yitu erigarukira hindugarukira n'ahandi ahindi arabira obumbaire nyina amaani omutarumbanaku ekyanga kiitu kuruga aha kuhikarisha erikuhika hindugarukira tariho banaku ngu abaana banaku nibateeza empiki engaro tibariho notimbareeba kandi kangenda ebyo byona nuwe yabyegyesa ihanga eri turimu eri turikuzaniramu eri haija amasimu nkanye kuteera esimu n'emyaka yange.
So there you have the testimony of some of the families we started with in 1966, end of year. That old lady was speaking in Nyankore, and she said that when we came to teach them in 1966, we were students having finished A-level, and we taught them to stop. She was saying that they were like the Karamojong at Katu and Kabakoromuishu, nomadic. And if you read our booklets, if you are polite, if you singamwe towards Zako, if you can make yourself a bit humble to learn from smaller people like us, then you will see how we argued with those traditional people to stop from nomadism, stop nomadism, and have settled agriculture, grow crops, and so on. Now, she was saying that because of the insecurity, we had to go away to fight. But when we came back, 1986, we added the issue of going now, not only just being settled, but being settled and also doing commercial agriculture with the Chivaro. That's why we advise them to go into dairy farming, because dairy farming was more for smallholders and medium people. It was better than beef ranching. Beef ranching needs more land. Now, that model, which started in the Nyabushozi area, has spread to the whole cattle corridor south of the Nile. There's a man called Matongo in the Ngoma area. Let's see what he says.
Amazina ninje George Matongo wa Ngoma Ngoma buntu hano gwataka shozi nandi kutaha umurimo gwanjye ndi muri isa nteze mujya kureba nuko itandikira tatakanda gento bakubya talobo nkagwache dana irisa akanya nagura amataka nyose nazo zankorera ibintu kwenda zashubitiza abana bihereze naturuho banza mu nyankore naje nahindura nk'umwata ngo ncungu nuko zahanyuranye natunga atuzungwe zo ndisumute.
On our farm, we collect over 900 liters of milk per day, and a liter costs 800 shillings, which is approximately 21 million per month.
So now this is now another side of the cattle corridor, Ngoma, Nakaseke district. But the cattle corridor is continuous from the border with Tanzania in Isingiro all the way up to northern Uganda. But much of the work we have done so far was in the south of the Nile, from River Kagera up to Chiriandongo. They have all changed. Now that man is in Goma area. The infrastructure is not so good, but you can see they are having a lot of money. That particular one is selling 900 liters of milk per day. The price is low, it's not high, but they still get 21 million shillings a month. You can see that girl there, she's educated because of the money which the parents have to pay for her in the schools. And they have moved from the other small houses which the old lady was showing you to now permanent buildings to live a better life. Now, that is the testimony from the cattle corridor. That's why this time really I am no longer interested in non-performers. Between 1986 and 1989, we campaigned for prioritizing the enterprise of dairy farming for the small and medium farmers, while the big players could continue with the ranching for beef. By 1995, the cattle corridor had started changing. People getting income per month from the milk, building better houses, paying school fees for children in paying schools. Indeed, our late Magaga is the husband of the other lady whom you saw, and father of Lieutenant General Kavuma. Is Kavuma here? Is he here? He's a big general now. Oh, you can see how big he is. There he is. Now, their family together, the wife, the one you saw, and the husband who died. Indeed, our late comrade Magaga, the father of Kavuma, came to me and told me that he did not know what to do with the money. When they started getting money from the milk, he couldn't believe it. He came to me. I said, you are people really, once you say you are a leader, you are putting a problem on yourself. If you don't become a real leader, God will not like you. I can assure you of this. Either you lead or you stay in your home. Don't try to be a leader when you are not, when you don't care about the people. So Magaga came and said, a citizen should be recognized. Because the milk people are paid every 15 days. They are paid. And this had never happened in Magaga's life. She had never seen it. That a villager is being paid every 15 days, being paid money. Being paid every 15 days. Nka omushara. That's what he told me. As if I am working in a government office and being paid a salary. That was the tragedy of Uganda at that time. Only the civil colonial servants could get regular income. This change in the cattle corridor by the traditional families of Abatar Soma, because these people had never gone to school. Magaga had never gone to school. His wife had never gone to school. To change Abatar Soma, the ones who never went to school, was engineered by us, was against the advice of the professionals. Professionals did not believe we could change these people. They would tell me, you are wasting your time. Those Banyankore cannot change. They were all saying to a man that the Banyankore could not change from their pre-capitalist lifestyle to a money economy. Moreover, when we were doing this, nobody among the colonial elite would agree to support us. It is only Mzee Byanyima who gave us 20 shillings. With my colleague Mwesugwa Black, who died in 1972 in our wars, we used, the only person who helped us gave us 20 shillings. That's about $3. Just short of $3. Because a dollar that time was 7 shillings, a dollar. So $3 would be 21 shillings. So when we went to say we are going to mobilize the Banyankore to stop nomadism, other people refused to help us. Mzee gave us 20 shillings. With my colleague Mwesugwa Black, who died in 1972 in our wars, we used 7 shillings per person to use Mongonya's bus from Baraturshere through Ruhumba. That was 14 shillings. So out of our 20, we used 14 to come from Baraturshere. 2 of us, each one 7 shillings. Mwesugwa was a smoker. So he took away shillings 120 to buy a packet of Sportsman. That left us with 4 shillings 80 cents. After holding public meetings at Rushere, we used the Bazarona bus to a place called Katongore, each using shillings 1 shilling and 20 cents. That is 2 shillings and 40 cents. In the Katongore area, we started moving on foot up to near Nama, where we spent the night leaning against the harvested millet. When we spent one of the nights, we spent it leaning against the millet of one of the peasants called Chankuru. Millet is very comfortable when it is not threshed, when it is in the sheaves. After addressing a public meeting at Nama, the group gave us bicycle rides to Mzee Bitasene's place near Wamasha Dam. Moving on foot, we addressed meetings, including a mega one at where there is Karo Secondary School now. You should have seen the grandfathers and other adults listening to these young people. I was just 22 years old that time, and Mwesugo was just slightly older than me. Thereafter, we moved on foot out of Mzee Tanyoka's home that we had made our camp and spent the night at Rushere with Mzee Mhinga. Thereafter, our remaining 2 shillings and 40 cents could only take us up to Nyakasharara. And from there, we walked on foot all the way to Mbarara, spending the night at my kurar in Akairungu near Biharu and Mbarara area. It was now 1967, January, and it was time to take up our temporary teaching jobs and get our own money to easily support our voluntary struggle for our people. Therefore, when I hear leaders talking of allowances to reach their people and get them out of poverty, I almost get nausea. I feel like vomiting. If you don't know, when I look at you, the way you do things, I really feel very, not pleased, but out of politeness, I've been keeping quiet. But now I'm telling you. Even those who get government allowances do not go to the field. I hear that many just stay in Kampala. Another mistake is for leaders to give personal money to constituents. As you can see here, we had no money to give to anybody. The only money we had, even when we started getting our own salaries, was for bus transport. Most of the time, I would ride the bicycle from Kazo to Burunga, from Burunga to Rwakitura and back. The only fuel I needed was no fat on my body. So now you hear a problem. Murka Chief needs a motorcycle. Motorcycle for what? Let the Murka Chief ride a bicycle. I'm really sick and tired of that parasitism. And that's why I told you that this is Kisanja, no more sleep. Because I've been polite, talking, thinking that people will learn by example. No. This is the time to talk straight to everybody. Why should the Muruka Chief have a motorcycle, fuel, money? Let him use a bicycle. It is better for him. He will live longer if he rides a bicycle. Even a Gombora chief, the Gombora is not so big. Why should we have fuel, all that? Work can't be done because there is no money for fuel. The only fuel I needed was no fat on my body. We would share food and accommodation with our hosts, the population. God has kept me here, and I'm now 82 years old, almost, not exactly, but almost. In spite of the efforts we expended in the resistance, the most important contribution to the people of the Cattle Corridor was the diagnosis of their problems and the prescriptions we offered. Because these people had no money to give them. The only thing we gave them was a correct analysis, diagnosis, and a prescription. They were enough to arouse their enthusiasm and expectations. That was the reason they massively joined the young party we formed in 1980, known as UPM, after the parties were again allowed to exist. No money given to them, but accurate analysis and prescription that was a projected solution. And also, reaching them. You can imagine a 22-year-old children calling adults, grandfathers, and they come to these meetings. By 1986, the production of milk in Uganda was 200 million liters per annum. It is now 5.4 billion liters, saving Uganda US dollars 1.56 billion of imports and earning US dollars 285 million in export earnings. So this work we did not only help these cattle raising families, but saved Uganda the import bill of $1.56 billion. If we were importing all this milk, Uganda would be spending $1.56 billion. Additionally, Uganda is earning now $285 million in export earnings. Uganda used to import tinned condensed milk from as far away as New Zealand, packed pepper milk from Kenya, butter, cheese, yogurt, powdered milk, etc. from Denmark, etc. Uganda now is a big exporter of all those products. That is our work. The people in the cattle corridor need to deepen their work by going away from Oksetura, free range, to growing pasture and indoor feeding of cattle, goats, and sheep. The only people who indirectly helped us in this were the late King Gasyonga and some community leaders like Eliazar Bitembe, who had mobilized the Banyankore to come back from where they had been dispersed by the spread of the tsetse flies following the invasion of tsetse flies from Karagwe, Tanzania in 1918 and after. To be saluted in particular is President Eisenhower of the United States, who deployed USAID to spray against the tsetse flies in 1958 using a chemical known as diedrine. When President Clinton visited us in March 1998, I wanted him to visit the cattle corridor and see the outcomes of the good the USAID had done. However, his people preferred to take him to Mukono to see pancakes. So I wanted him to go and see this work, but his people said, no, you go to Mukono and see pancakes. So they went to see pancakes. Even me, I went with them. Ever since the coming into power of the NRM, we have eradicated the tsetse flies in Ichiboga, Ngoma, Busoga, Lango, etc. With the shift from Kusetura, free range, to indoor feeding of the dairy and beef cattle, and stopping the primitive practice of property fragmentation after the death of the head of the family, Uganda will overtake countries like the Netherlands, Australia, Argentina in production levels of dairy products, beef, leather, etc. After this success, I started inviting delegations of leaders from other parts of Uganda to visit and learn. This is where the question of no more sleep, no more kukongora, no more kugumaza, no more kuhenda, no more politeness to non-performers comes in. Because I would invite leaders, come please and see. This area was like this. We have now moved it, it's moving like this. And they would visit. My expectation was that they would go and try to do the same in all our areas in Uganda. The county of Nyabushozi each day delivers to the factories and milk coolers 1.15 million liters of milk per day. That's county alone. There are 115 milk coolers in Nyabushozi alone, mainly private. And there are now 160 milk and milk products factories in the whole of Uganda. Having succeeded in the Nyabushozi Kazo area, And having been inviting delegations after delegations in 1995, I made a countrywide tour on exactly this point. I studied the whole country, and I recommended the two modes of agriculture: intensive agriculture for people with small pieces of land, and extensive agriculture for people with big pieces of land. In the 1996 manifesto, we reduced it into the 4 acres model with 7 activities for intensive farming and for other products for the plantations and the big farmers with big pieces of land. With 4 acres or less, you could engage in zero grazing for 1 acre of pasture with 8 Frisian cattle, 1 acre of coffee, 1 acre of fruits, 1 acre of food for the family, poultry for eggs and piggery in the backyard, and fish farming near the wetlands. With large farming, there was more
Now,
what Mudebo is saying in Rumasab, which you people don't understand, is saying that he was living in the town, in the Makwekwe trading suburb of Mbare. But when this program came, this one was of, I think this was NADS, one of the first ones. He got a cow from NADS and was keeping it in Namakwekwe. But eventually he got money and bought, I think, two acres in Sironko. He moved from Namakwekwe, now he went back to Sironko, bought land. Zikafu, what he was saying, the cows, I think now they're giving you like 60 liters. Is my Rugisu correct? Was it 60 liters or something like that? Enkaga. Now, with the milk, not only the milk, but also the cow dung, he went into coffee growing. We don't have time to listen to the whole story, the Chibaro, but he's doing very well. This is Mudiebo, who started with nuts long ago. Then now you go to there's somebody called Cherimo or Buko. Let's say Cherimo Buko.
Welcome to this village. Is called Ngeny. Ngeny village, Kapkoro sub-county, Buko district. I am a farmer. I'm doing dairy. As you can see, I have 3 cows now, but 2 are producing milk. 1 is still growing. I also have coffee, 1,200 trees. I have bananas on 1 acre. I also have fruits, apples specifically. And then I have horticulture. I am growing vegetables, the local breed, but I have 100 so far under a poultry unit, which we are producing for milk, for eggs, and also for sale. We really thank government because when I started this farm, I started doing this farming activity in 2004. I did it using my own resources, but in 2018, government under Operation Whereas Creation, they gave us a cow, and now this cow so far it has sired 3. These ones are 3 here because of the congestion here. I've taken them to another annexed farm which I bought. These cows here, it has assisted me so much as a farmer because we are getting milk. As you can see, this one here, this one is Asha. It has produced milk for over 1 year plus. So the milk production has gone down, but so far we are getting 10 liters a day from this other cow. Then this one is a crossbreed, a local and a crossbreed. We are getting, this one gives us 8 liters. So in total, these cows give us 18 liters per day. This 18 liters, when you calculate it with the current market price of 1,800, we get like 900,000 every month from these 2 cows. So next year, all of them are they are pregnant. We expect them to produce in January. So when we get now peak production, our milk is going to increase. But so far, these other 2 cows is assisting us in payment of fees, maintaining the home. We are also getting the bananas, which we sell on weekly basis. At least we get like 250,000. In a month, we get like about 1 million from the bananas. Then the coffee is also doing very well. So far, this year, we have already picked 5 bags of dry parchment. And that 5 bags, when you calculate it to the price of 10,000, that is already 5 million. The coffee is doing very well because of this mixed farming ingredient. We get the cow dung, we get the bioauxiliary, and that is what you can see the bananas are very healthy, and also the coffee is doing very well. So that is what we are getting.
That is the testimony of Cherimo. I didn't get time to calculate the whole Chibaro, the whole calculation, the milk, the 900,000 per month.